got in my memory a photograph that my daughter sent a couple of days on WhatsApp. It was of Ranelagh Common, Dorking, where my daughter lives. Her and Lisa went off and before, around about 6 o'clock in the morning, and rode their bikes over Leith Hill. But Ranelagh Common, well, she sent me some panoramics, but I can't show that on these. I haven't got a frame for anything like that size, so we'll do something, something like that. That'll be a hill, and some trees. There's sort of a plain across there. Now, very simple, but sometimes simple turns out to be very difficult because you try to make it interesting. Now, that's not very interesting as a painting, but how do we make a painting interesting? Well, I'm not an expert on that, but now and again I pull one off. It's contrast and texture. Contrast and texture. So I'll use a bit of oil. I was going to do a knife painting, but I'll put a bit of this linseed oil in my little dish. Not a lot, because it's only a tiny picture. 10 inches by 8. Do you get fed up with these horrible caps that you have? They're child locked, and eventually you get a lot of dried oil and stuff in it, and you have to then prise the top off and scrap it. Right, what was I after? A little bit of this. I'm going to have to get some of this fast drying medium. It's got an alkyd resin in, I'm sure. Just a little drop there. I might get a larger bottle of that because it's very handy when you're using student quality paints. They've got plenty of oil in them anyway, but a bit of oil will help them dry. A bit of fast drying linseed will help them on their way. So here we are, one brush. Chinese. Now these Chinese brushes used to be everywhere, and they were, for the price, they were very good quality, but I've noticed those that I've looked at over the last couple of years are very hairless, not enough bristles in. But that, even though the ferrule has worn out, look, it's very soft, and that only just stays in there, the brush itself. But it's been a superb brush, so we'll use it. Okay, so sky, I'll put a sky in. Well, we could have quite a sort of a dark sky on the horizon, but I think maybe no. But I'll put a bit of cad red out there. A bit of oil, so a bit of cad red, bit of yellow. What is that? With my phone, I'm watching Mike Graham on Talk Radio. It's all on TV now. So just go behind the trees and just show the drawing. Get off. Just get some nice cloud on there, bit of dark. You don't need to prime these boards with a gesso, unless you want to, of course, because they've got a mid-tone. So whatever you put on there is sort of quite an accurate look. In other words, if you put something on a white background, it will look much darker by contrast. Obviously, black on white is the biggest contrast you'll get. But so it's good to, unless you're going to do the lifting out ones that I was doing, then because you're scraping out, you need to go back to that white background because that is your illusion of detail. But if you are not bothered, you're going to do a fairly comprehensive painting, even at this stage, or this size, comprehensive. Now, this is a 2mm MDF. It's quite shiny both sides. It's extremely hard. The 3mm one that I've got is much softer and rubs up, and it gives a lovely tooth. So I might scrap the 2mm next time when I order some, and just buy 3 or 4 sheets, 4 foot by 3 foot sheets of the 3mm MDF. I like MDF because this sort of thickness is very storable. If you paint as much as I do, and you're using canvases in stretchers, you'll end up with no room at all, unless you take the canvases off the stretchers. But then you've got to roll them, haven't you, really, or keep them flat if they're perfectly dry. But as far as I'm aware, they're very, very durable. Just using a bit of cad red and the ultramarine, just to. I'll go on to the horizon in a minute. And down there, just let's get some of that. A bit of ochre. You can use a titanium white alkyd based whites and mix with your student quality if that's what you're using. And the alkyd resin in the Griffin, you need a 200ml tube. It's no good buying silly little tubes because you don't save anything. All my paints now, or most of them, are 200. What's this one? This is a Data Rowney. That's 225ml. Get a lot of paint for your money. The last year's. Right, let's just go in with a bit of green. Got a bit of dark there. Let's just put in some dark shadowy colour in here. Not sure. That's a good colour. That's blue paint scribe, bit of red. Oh, that's too light. I've got to imagine that there's a lot of grass in between these trees. But I'm not painting from anything, I'm just making a painting. I think we'll call this Ranelagh Common. Get the shadow in. Okay, we'll work on that. I'll put some light back behind that, but that dries off a little bit. When the trees are at quite a distance, they'll show the trees behind them, so you don't really get the trunk showing. Well, not on my paintings. I might try that. Let's put some blue behind that, I think. It's the weather's going to be very hot next week. Hot. But we've had a sort of a mixed week really. Sunshine and showers. We need the showers. And I can see the blue sky just breaking through. I hope so, because I'm going to do a couple of steaks on the barbecue lunchtime. Oh, let's get some blue in there. No, I'm not liking that. Let's get some nice green in for the foreground. Oily. Now that bit of Payne's grey in that just gives that gorgeous, brilliant green. So just painting a sort of a meadow really, sort of a nothing painting, just an impression. Right, okay. On the camera that doesn't look as brilliant as it is. Brilliant meaning bright, not good. Right, we'll just let that go a minute. Let's go back on that sky. Clean the brush. Got loads and loads of toweling. So if you're interested in this sort of painting, knife painting, oil painting, with brushes, go on your Facebook page and put a plea out to friends. Needed some nice toweling. Toweling is very good because it's rough. It takes the paint out of the brush and it saves you cleaning them as you go, which I don't really like doing. It's not very good on your chest. Breathing in white spirit or thinners. Right, let's get some nice cloud colour. Bit of touch of red or a touch of light red. Touch of green, yellow. I think I prefer ochre with that. So you see the paint's sort of going tacky now because of that alkyd resin. Don't worry about going over the edge. Right, let's soften all that. Well, I've got to get a bit of shape to those clouds. Any hairs, just lift them off. Then we can go back over the tree. Once we've got a reasonable sky, now let's get a bit of the old blue and red in. Right, get some white and some ochre. Just work at them till you get something that you like, that you think looks alright. If it looks alright, I believe it is okay. But there are things you miss too, and other people point them out in the constructive criticism. Always appreciate constructive criticism. Don't like trolls. Okay, well that's okay. Let's soften all around here. Right. Let's put in some blue in there, or shadow basically. Right, I'll put in a little bit of light in there. Just lighten up some, give an impression of light coming through those trees, just just open it up a little bit. What we're doing is creating an illusion of detail. Oh, just putting that light behind the trees, under the trunks. Just showing a bit of that sky behind coming through the leaves. Rather than painting the leaves, I'm sort of painting the negative space. Right, let's work on that grass now. So we want some shadowy grass, so let's put more blue in there. I think I prefer the Payne's grey there. A bit too light there. Need some more darker green in there. Sorry, my head's in the way. I want to get dark greens in here, and I might put some little bit of trunkage in. Go like that. Let's work that in. Put some shadow in across. There's so many different techniques you can use for putting on paint. Can even use your fingers. Right, bit of white, or very light coloured grass from the light shining through. What a few wild flowers, haven't we? So red is a complementary of green. So we'll have a few poppies. No portraits, just enough to encourage the viewer to see poppies, even though they're not painted as poppies. Poppies are red, so there we go. And also you have cornflowers. So we'll put some of them in. Bit of white, bit of blue. Gosh, it's 5 to 12. A little bit of white. Nettles. Well, it's not brilliant, is it? No, let's get a bit of a, see if we can get a okay, we'll put it in a mount or in a frame. Let's just clean that brush and get a bit of that ochre just gives a bit of creamy look to the clouds. Because clouds aren't really white, they reflect what is around. If you hold a white piece of paper up to a white cloud, you'll see how much darker the cloud is. I can put a little bit of a character back in there. Oh, too light. No, that blue is not right. Change that. Okay, well I'll let that go. I'm going to put it in the mounts or in the frame. So I'll just cut that off. There we go. Right, a couple of tacks, or a couple of pins. Well, I'll put it up in a second. I'll just clear the deck for action. Put it in the bin. So it looks a bit insipid, but well, it depends how you look at it, really. So just to move that and move the painting over. It's more or less in the middle. Well, it looks okay. Hope you like it, folks. It's not a lot of detail. Well, there's no detail. It's all just impression of detail. But a lot of stipple, gentle. The green, the cadmium yellow pale with the Payne's grey is a really good, I reckon, a really good green. Now, if you had a fine brush, you could put some things in, but I can't be bothered. Right, I hope you like that one. Once we're getting on with. See you soon. Bye bye.